right.
So this is a kind of pilot study of trying to put together understand the whole feasibility of an entirely new way of studying cognition.
So basically, this piece of equipment has never been used before.
There are a whole set of processes in the brain that are involved in interacting with the real world, which are extremely hard to model in a laboratory situation. So we're measuring complex cognitive functions out in the real world where people are walking around and relating that to signals that we're getting from the brain. So it involves you guys being in the real world and you know, crossing roads and things like that. It would be terrible if some accident happened. Walking around with a laptop, for instance.
It was quite difficult because of the weather, mainly. Because it can't be too bright outside and it can't be too rainy as well.
I think they're saturated from the sunlight.
So what happens if it rains?
500,000 pounds. I just changed it every time.
Is that how much this is worth?
Well, that was the initial estimate.
We basically need to go inside immediately if it stops raining.
And there's no rule book that you could refer to.
Yeah.
You've got to be a very practical person to test well in everyday life and make everything happen. Everything has to be checked many more times than you'll typically check in a lab experiment.
I'm just gonna look at this camera.
Because there's so many things that can go wrong.
I feel like a little bit this is slipping down forwards. Will it change if I do different stuff? No? Sorry. Sorry. Has it gone wrong?
Can you...
Is it jumping around?
You have to be very engaged in the project. You have to be very well disciplined. You have to be very skilled, very practical.
How do I turn this off, Rita?
Which is the button to...
that?
Yeah,
Quite often quite socially skilled, it helps.
No, it wasn't your fault.
A lot of hard work, and you have to be able to tolerate risk. So it takes quite a special person to do a project in an everyday life situation. So one of the risks is that you'll get a result that differs from those results that your colleagues are getting who just work in experimental situations. What the rostral prefrontal cortex has taught me is that there are a huge number of processes that go on in our brain when we're asked to do cognitive tasks. Thinking to yourself, well, I'm not doing this very well, or wondering what other people are thinking about you. Those kinds of processes happen at the time when we're doing cognitive tasks, but aren't strongly related to performance of them. There are significant risks involved in what we're doing in a scientific sense. You might commit a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of money to a problem and end up with nothing. That's the life of the scientist.